Hello and welcome back to Payday 2 101 with your host as always, Mah-Dry-Bread. On this episode, I'm going to be going into my first advanced build, the most requested one, my Playerdozer build. Before we get started, you guys might want to see what the build is like in action to decide if this is something you'd like. The video on screen is myself using the very same Playerdozer build, so just click on it if you'd like to see if it's the right build for you. I know it's the Big Bank video that most of you found me through, but in case you haven't seen it and would like to, there it is, just click on it. We'll just go through the different skill trees from left to right, and I'll explain as I go why everything's in here and what it does. So as a Playerdozer, the most important thing is to be basically invincible as you can get in this game, so just know going into it, that's the focus. For Mastermind, all we have is Endurance Aced, so that you have much more stamina. This is very, very important because your stamina is going to be a big problem. And Basic Combat Medic because you will be helping people up a lot, actually, unless you have a lot of people with Inspire. Enforcer, as you can see here, is pretty full. Transporter Aced, because everyone should. We have Bulletstorm Basic, just to help get up in the tiers more. Again, this is assuming you have no infamy. Oppressor Aced, it's not really that big a deal. Again, it's not the greatest skill in the world, but it's to help fill out the tiers. Pumping Iron Basic, so you deal 50% more melee damage, especially for the Shotgun DLC so that the Hatchet is available. That's actually quite useful. We have Underdog Aced, because since you'll be up close and personal a lot, what with your armor, you'll want to be doing extra damage and taking less damage when surrounded. Die Hard Aced, that increases your armor recovery rate. You can also use your primary weapon in Bleed Out, which you probably won't use that often. Shotgun Impact Aced, of course, extra shotgun damage and stability with all shotguns, which is amazing. Stun Resistance Aced, so those pesky flashbangs only last half as long. Really useful, because again, you're going to be up close and personal, and getting blinded can be a death sentence. We have Tough Guy Basic, reduces Camera Shake by half. Camera Shake already is not that big of a deal, but again, it's just 1 point for a nice bonus. We have Shotgun CQB, which increases the reload speed by 50% of shotguns. This is a major, major one. Fully Loaded, we only have basic of this. We did have to leave out a lot of stuff here because we invest so heavily in Technician later, but we do have basic Fully Loaded, so you do carry more maximum ammo, and you have the Portable Saw, so you can actually be handy on stages where people need the saw. We have Basic Iron Man. This allows you to wear the heaviest armor in the game, the improved Combined Tactical Vest. Unfortunately, you just don't have the points in the end without Infamy to be able to ace this, but Basic is still quite useful. And of course, we have Basic Overkill, which is the beautiful ability to deal 75% more damage with shotguns each time you get a shotgun kill for 5 seconds. So, you'll be a death machine. Onto Technician, where we actually spend most of the points. We take, a lot of this is simply just filling out the tree. All that matters is we're trying to beeline Bulletproof Aced, so that you have 50% more armor stacked with your already amazing armor, and you and your crew have an awesome armor recovery rate. But to get there, we ace Nerves of Steel. Basic, of course, lets us take far less damage while interacting with things, which, with all the armor we'll have in the end, is very nice. And you can use Steel Sights and Bleed Out. A lot of people say this isn't that good. I find it amazing if you have a decent sight on a Car 4 rifle for actually taking out snipers or getting headshots while you're down. Demolition Man Basic, this is just to fill out tiers. We have Rifleman Aced, so our Snap to Zoom is double speed with assault rifles and it zooms in farther. Because of your very poor mobility due to heavy armor, this will be nice to help increase your accuracy just a little bit at range. Sharpshooter Aced, so you're more accurate with single-shot weapons. That also applies to shotguns, and your weapon stability is increased. I actually heard a bit of rumblings in the comments the other week asking why I bothered having decent accuracy with shotguns, considering having negative accuracy or very, very low accuracy with shotguns helps the spread be wider. Well, as I explained before, if you go through the math of exactly how the spread in the game works, as long as your accuracy is between 6 and 12, you have the highest chance of at least one of the pelts hitting the dead center of the screen, and that's what we're aiming for here. Combat Engineer Aced, this is just to fill out tier, you're never going to use this. Hardware Expert Aced, Drill Sergeant Aced, and Basic Silent Drilling, so you have every drill perk that I would recommend. It's mostly to fill things out, but it does make you quite handy. And of course, Shockproof Aced, so that not only can you, do tasers not work very well on you, you can escape it easily, but by interacting with the enemy taser, by hitting F when you're pointed at them, you'll give them feedback and they'll actually fall over and take a lot of damage. This is just another little thing to help keep you from being locked down. So while you're up close and personal tanking all the damage, if a taser comes by, it's not as big of a deal as it may otherwise be. And of course, as I said before, Bulletproofed Aced, one of the best skills in the game. And lastly, the ghost stuff. This isn't totally important, but it's just kind of the things that I would put in each given build. Sprinter Aced, Cat Burglar Basic, Fast Hands Aced, Shinobi Basic, and of course we've also added here Martial Arts Basic, 50% more likely to knock down enemies with a melee strike. That of course stacks with your Enforcer ability of pumping iron, so you're doing 50% more damage and knockdown, which is very nice. I'd actually recommend you use the baton if you have the shotgun. If you have the shotgun DLC and you're going loud, which is really what this build is for, use the baton so you have a very high knockdown chance. Once the opponent's knocked down, you'll have no problem finishing them off with your locomotive. Speaking of the locomotive, we're actually starting with the secondaries here for once on the loadout, and that's because you're only gonna have one secondary, the locomotive. Remember, if you're a shotgun build, you've got to be using the locomotive as your secondary weapon. It is awesome. Same loadout of mods that I've showed every other time on this one. Shark Teeth, Military Laser, Rubber Grip, although Pro Grip works just as well, Magazine Extension, for sight I do a Speculator sight, War-Torn Stock, and Upper Receiver. However, now that ammunition types have been added due to the DLC, you'll see that I actually don't have any special ammunition selected, which means I have Double-Aught Buckshot. That's because this one's actually a little bit up to you and depending on what stage you're going into. If you're going to be fighting entirely on very tight corridors, I might actually recommend taking the Triple-Aught Buckshot. If not, stay with the Double-Aught and you'll be fine. That one's a little bit up to you. On to the primary weapons, we of course start with the Car 4. Yes, it's still awesome, even with this being a Deathwish build, the Car 4 is still just as awesome on Deathwish. And of course, it's got the same mods as I show each time. You can pause and check it out if you would like to, however, I do go into it in every other build video. The Car 4 is the gun for everybody. Next here, we actually have the Golden AK-762. That is because this is a Deathwish build for Deathwish mode. You could use that on whenever you want, but because this is on Deathwish, the Golden AK is actually quite useful. You actually need that extra damage, so I'll go through it here. We have the AK Slavic Dragon Barrel. We have the Competitor's Compensator, helps make up for that accuracy loss. Lightweight Rail, helps with stability a lot. We have our Military Laser Module. We have our AK Wooden Grip, again, tons of stability on that. We have the Quad Stacked Mag, because who can go without it? For sight, Speculator Sight, and for stock, the War-Torn Stock. And you come out with this beauty of a barely golden anymore gun. And again, I would really not recommend this gun unless you're on Deathwish difficulty, entirely because it's a bit of a novelty on any other difficulty. You don't need the damage per shot that this thing gives unless you're on Deathwish. Speaking of don't need unless you're on Deathwish, the KSP Auto Shotgun, as I've named it, because that's how you're gonna treat this baby. No long barrel, funnel of fun, railed foregrip, military laser module, and solid stock. This thing has... it's got no range at all, this thing. You're not gonna hit a target beyond 5 to 10 feet in front of you, which is why I call it the auto shotgun. You're treating this thing like an auto shotgun. This gun is for camping around corners and absolutely annihilating whatever comes around that bend. You have a little bit more leeway with it because you're so tanky you can afford to get a little closer to enemies. However, keep in mind that because your mobility sucks so much, it takes a little bit longer to get to your enemy and you're getting shot during that time, so use it with caution, but it's very good for places like Day 1 of Rats, where you could camp a stairwell with it and be the unmovable object. We of course have the heavy AMR-16 assault rifle. This one, again, it's fallen a bit out of popular use over time, and I might even recommend the Golden AK over it, but it's still a valid gun. We have the long barrel, Funnel of Fun nozzle on it, although you could also pick the competitor's compensator. This depends a little bit on the stage you're going into. Funnel of Fun is more so for if you aren't going to shoot anything at a long range. Tactical hand guard, military laser module, rubber grip, although pro grip is just as good, quad stack mag, speculator sight, war-torn stock, and the exotique receiver. And also because this is a Deathwish build, the Falcon Rifle actually kind of makes it onto here. You only have the Falcon Rifle if you have the Big Bank DLC, but if heavily modded and used in the right hands, and this build does have the right perks for it, this can actually be quite a good Deathwish weapon. What I have on mine, when I'm experimenting at least, is the wooden foregrip, competitor's compensator, military laser module, technical grip. I would like the extended mag, however I have not unlocked it. This one is actually a little bit up to you, although, again, it depends on the mission. If you're going to be sniping with this thing, you don't want the extended mag. But if you're getting up close, you might want it. Then again, it is more of a single-shot rifle than anything. That's what you want to use it as. For a sight, the speculator sight, and the wooden stock. And you come out with a pretty good assault rifle. It's pretty stage-specific on when you want to use it, but if I were you, I would use it as a bit of a sniper rifle, assault rifle in between. That's it for this episode of Payday 2 101. I was originally planning to do more advanced builds to follow this up, however, since I'm currently going through Infamy level 3, I won't be able to get any proper footage of the other advanced builds till I hit level 100 again. In the meantime, make sure to suggest I make Payday 2 101 videos about any topic you'd like. I read every comment, so don't worry about me missing it. Let me know what you want me to talk about in the next episode, and I'll get on researching it right away. If you're interested in this series and would like to watch more, a link to the playlist will both be on screen as well as in the description. The series will be ever updating as new patches change the game, so I'll keep you guys up to date. If you're looking for some teammates to play with, why not join my Steam group linked in the description? And if you want to keep up with me, I have a Facebook fan page and Twitter linked down there as well. Feel free to request I talk about anything in the game as long as I don't already have a video on it in the playlist, and I look forward to seeing everyone's feedback. If you want to see me play more Payday 2, click on the video on the left to check out my series Payday 2 A Journey. And if you want to see a different game, the video on the right is of my newest Let's Play. That's it for this video. Thank you all for watching, and until next time, have a nice day.